What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Absolute Power issue number 3. This one is written by Mark Waid with art done fantastically once again by Dan Mora. This is the third of the fourth issue of the mainline series. I know there's all sorts of spin-offs and tie-ins, but unless it's kind of a book I'm already actively reading, I'm just not going to bother with the tie-ins because a lot of the information presented is just pretty much showcased in here. I'm sure there's still some kind of minute details that I'm missing out on that I wouldn't be getting unless I was looking into the other stuff. But you know what, I'm gonna stick with the main storyline right now. DC has kind of burned me on events in the past, but aside from all that, how is this issue 3 of 4 right here? So there is a lot packed into this single issue right here. I mean, you get the pretty much everybody is just thrown into this thing. I mean, you get the entire DC universe basically. Maybe a few characters aren't in this particular one, but you know, with all the other issues of Absolute Power, Mark Waid is cramming a lot of stuff into these 4 issues, and it doesn't necessarily feel rushed. Everything gets its time to shine in a way that I think actually works quite well. So we see Amanda Waller, she has, of course, she has control over pretty much everything at this point. The heroes are doing their little things. I mean, you've had other characters going off on their little adventures, and all the pieces are starting to come together. At the end of this last issue, I think it was the Fortress of Solitude was blown up, and they were kind of transported here to Themyscira because the magical shielding would basically prevent John from seeing it, the super sun. And there is a bit of a conflict between Nightwing and Big Barda. Big Barda thinks that they should use a Kryptonian bullet to kill John, but Dick is absolutely not. He's under mind control. These are not his actions. So everyone's kind of got a plan here. Heroes are going to kind of go do their thing. Meanwhile, Amanda Waller is out basically across the world trying to form it under basically a one world government where she has the absolute power and control over everything. The U.S. government was a useful tool for her to start out, but now she's just kind of taken over, and she's just basically creating enemies across the world, and she has all this power. She's stopping all the metahumans, and it's oh, no, we're taking care of the metahuman problem, but all the governments now work for me, so get in line, I have control. So you got that going on, but meanwhile, you also have the Amazos, who have basically been kind of glitching. They're kind of inheriting some of the good qualities of the metahumans they've taken powers from, and Amanda Waller is getting really angry over this because she's always angry, and it's something she didn't necessarily foresee. So you got some of that going on there. You also have Flash doing his thing. He's kind of learned where he can get the powers back. We also have moments of Bizarro, and you have John Starr in here, Black Alice, Yara Flor, just so many different characters in here. There's actually time for good moments too. There's one with Aquaman and one of these younger heroes, and him just saying it's not necessarily the power, the power is just in here, you don't have to have powers to really be a superhero. A nice moment for Aquaman. And then of course eventually Brainiac Queen does discover that they're on Themyscira, but it was kind of part of some elaborate plan that they had because of just basically as a means to kind of trap John on the island, because the whole island is magic. So if John wasn't necessarily invited there, as soon as he touches ground, it's they sprung a trap, and the magic is basically taking out the infection kind of within him. So another example of this kind of reminds me of, what was it, Apocalypse War, when Trigon went to possess Superman, but basically kind of flushed out all the Kryptonian poison. And there's something kind of similar here where the magic basically flushes out the Brainiac Queen's influence, and they're eventually able to kind of stop her, which makes Amanda Waller really mad. John is finally kind of cured from his cyborg stuff, and of course he's all a big bloody mess, and we have this fantastic artwork from Dan Mora showcased throughout the issue. And then ultimately it does end with Batman kind of talking to, was it John Starr, about how to get the powers back, and then Barry discovering the multiversal map, and that Waller's been kind of building this army from the shadows. So that's the other thing that they have left to do with the 4th issue left. It's going to be the final battle. It's going to be everyone else against Amanda Waller's multiversal army. She's always 10 steps ahead of everyone else for the most part, and hopefully at the end of issue 4 somebody kills off Amanda Waller, or something kind of close. Maybe she's defeated for good, and has to publicly go to jail or something like that. Amanda Waller has to lose in the next issue. And of course we have the setups for the whole All-In initiative and some of the other stuff that DC's been kind of doing behind the scenes. But I thought Absolute Power issue 3 was actually pretty solid. I did have to read it twice because there's so much information kind of conveyed in this issue that you really have to pick it up a second time, because there's so many characters across the DC universe. But the plot is actually pretty well thought out. The way they kind of get out of situations is a creative but interesting one, and like things have been kind of set up from the get-go, but like kind of little hints kind of at play there, but it's kind of the little minute details that make the difference. So some good heroic moments from the characters. Dan Mora's artwork is incredible. Yes, I am a little event fatigued, but you know, just kind of sticking with the main couple issues, like it actually is like pretty decent so far. So I'll just be glad when we're done with Amanda Waller and all her nonsense. So before we get into the next DC event, which is the whole All In initiative, but I am excited that All In basically starting like next month is going to kind of like just be fresh starts for pretty much most of the titles and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of issues, I thought Absolute Power number 3 was actually pretty good. And I think the 3 issues so far have been pretty good so far. So, I mean, Wade is a talented writer. I read World's Finest and some of the other stuff he's done. It's generally pretty good. Is this like my favorite event or anything like that? No, not necessarily. Maybe I am a little fatigued from I am fatigued from events, and I am a little tired of seeing Amanda Waller after all this time. But the way this thing is handled and like all the little pieces kind of come together, and the fact that it's really just kind of these 4 main issues, it makes it work more so for me. It's like I don't have to necessarily like, there's all the tie-ins and stuff too, but I care less about most of the tie-ins when it comes to these events anymore. But yeah, so there is some good stuff in here for sure, and it's just the 4 main issues. You don't have to read 800 million things to kind of understand it. Yeah, the other stuff kind of tells more of what's going on in here, like the little details, but I mean, you can pretty much pick up on things without necessarily having read them. And yeah, I thought this was pretty good. What did you think of Absolute Power number 3? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all the other fun stuff. I got some more DC comic book stuff coming up. I got to talk about the latest issue of Batman, and then there's a Godzilla comic book that I haven't gotten around to talking about yet, but I want to get Absolute Power out of the way. I tried to like, it was kind of weird, like Kindle would not like download the issue like yesterday, and I don't know why. It was not compatible with this device. I thought that was kind of weird, but hey, you know what? At least I can talk about it now. So it's kind of waiting for that. So next up will be the Batman issue, and then there's the Godzilla comic book I want to talk about. But yeah, so we're starting out. We're getting things caught up, and then we should be good. If I miss anything today, then I'll just kind of have it all out by tomorrow. So look forward to all that stuff. All right, well, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video.